So this pen just came in the mail today, and so it is a Moonman M700 in the blue color resin. Out of 3 choices, the colorful one, this blue one, and the brown one. I paid around 55 Singapore dollars for this, which probably translates to around 40 USD. Sometimes I think I'm really pulling these conversion ratios out of my head. But I think it should be around there. A bit expensive for Moonman pen, but that's because of this beauty over here. It's a Bock nib. And Bock nibs tend to come at a premium price. But in my opinion, given their reliability, it's a good price to pay. So let's take a look at the aesthetics of this pen. It's very light. First thing I noticed. The resin is, well, not as beautiful as what is seen in the pictures. Trying to adjust the lighting in my room to get the best effect. But yeah, it's blue with a bit of green, yellow, gold. 2 gold plated metal bands here. A clip reminiscent of the Parker Duofold. A cap finial of the same resin material. Same for the end finial, which at least gives it a complete resin look. So let's unscrew and see what's inside. The section is also made out of the same resin. This is good. The nib and feet feel slightly wet. I just inked it. This Bock nib. Opening up, that's where I don't really like it. It's all resin, and the seating of this converter is not very secure. There is indeed a snap, but somehow it just feels a little flimsy. So if I were to describe this pen, if one word, it would be a little flimsy. Maybe I'm just a bit biased because the resin is indeed quite light, but I think I do have a point because I'm comparing it to the Moonman M800, which is now probably discontinued. Can't seem to find good listings of it anywhere, but it was a beautiful pen when it was being produced. The clip is much better. Yes, this rolling thing. So the general design is of this M800 is inspired by an Italian pen. I think it's the Leonardo Momento. But one will immediately realize that the resin of this M800 is much heftier than the very light resin of the M700. And we also see more attention to detail in the way the grip section is being done. You can just see for comparison. And if we actually open the M800, we notice that there is this metal housing to secure the converter to the nib section. So the M800 is a pen that I absolutely love. If only there are more listings of it now. On hindsight, I would have bought another. But I only bought one because I felt that 60 Singapore dollars was already in the high price range for a Chinese pen. But today's video is not about the M800, it's about the M700 here. So what I think could be improved aesthetically is that for these strange rings to be put instead as a cap band. Currently there's this slight beveling down from the cap onto the body, but it does seem a little unrefined or flimsy or just cheap looking, to be absolutely honest. Yeah, it doesn't look as beautiful as the M800. But that's enough talk about aesthetics. Maybe one last point about functionality. The original converter had a glass ball agitator in it, which I removed. So this causes the ink to be less mobile, but I always found the agitator to be a bit of a pain as well, because sometimes, depending on what ink you use, the agitator can actually obstruct ink flow. So I rather without the agitator, and if it need be, a few shakes of the hand would cause the ink to flow down naturally by gravity. So I removed the glass ball agitator, although you can keep it. I think it'll be fine. Alright, so let's see how this writes on paper. Let me grab my Rhodia pad. Alright, here's my Rhodia pad. Let me zoom in. Okay. So this is a Moonman M700 with a Bock nib. When this nib first came in this pen, it was quite dry. So I had to spread the tines a bit with very careful application of force and a bit of flossing with a brush sheet before it could flow to an extent which I was happy about. But that also means it becomes slightly broader when it comes to laying down a line of ink, but it's just nice to my taste. So the ink I have here is Noodler's Polar Black, another very wet ink from Noodler's. Okay. There's some flex to it, right? Some line variation. Oh. Nothing too fanciful, but it does have the good quality of a Bock nib that is kind of expected from a reputable German manufacturer. Yep, if I can focus, you can see the beautiful Bock logo and the two-tone Bock nib. So what I like about this pen, well, its resin is half a tick. The resin looks more beautiful in the picture. Perhaps I just got one that just didn't have the same banding that the picture showed. I know that the resins is a bit of a hit and a miss sometimes. And I definitely like the Bock nib. And to be honest, that's about it. What I dislike would be the general flimsiness of the pen, right? Lack of a metal band to hold the converter to the grip section. The lack of a metal band at the end of the cap also makes it look a little cheap. And instead you have these two strange metal bands over here, which I have no idea what is for. So general flimsiness. To be honest, this pen is neither good nor bad. There's nothing much bad I can say about it, because it's quite simple. But there's also nothing much good I can say about it. So is it worth paying Singapore dollar 55? But now the price has gone up. It's now about Singapore dollar 65 on a lot of listings at AliExpress. Is it worth paying that much? To be honest, if you want a Bock nib for a cheap price, yes if you want a Bock nib, no if you want a good pen, because there are many other good pens that can be gotten for much less, much cheaper prices. For example, I would recommend the Jinhao 100, right? With a Jinhao F nib. To be absolutely honest, the Jinhao F nib writes as well as this Bock nib. Okay, perhaps less flex, less line variation, but in terms of smoothness, it's quite comparable. Yeah, so that's the end of this review. Have to say, I'm not really impressed by this pen. I don't regret buying it, no I don't. But I'm also not very in love with this. Maybe it needs time for it to grow on me. Maybe I'll change my mind after a few weeks and decide that I love it. But as for now, that's it for this review. There's been a lot of negative news recently, and while not trying to diminish the severity of the issues, sometimes you just have to refocus on the good things in our lives. For me, one of them is being able to buy, use and collect fountain pens. So thanks for watching and goodbye.